Before I get into this commentary, I have to give a shout out to Kid Gravity Beyond because he actually did a live stream on his channel a little while back, talking about Trump going to this convention or whatever it is, conference called the Black Conservative Federation. It was held down in South Carolina towards the end of February. And I also have to give a shout out to Tawana in Discord because she posted an article that I'm going to read from this, because I wasn't going to really talk about it because it's like, okay, it is what it is. But then when I see that it was an article attached to it, I said, this is perfect now that I think about it, because remember what I just talked about with that Fox News contributor, who I believe his name is Roy or Ray Arafio or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, who made that comment saying black people will go out and support Trump because he released these sneakers and whatnot. And now, how about just a couple days later, he's speaking at this thing called the Black Conservative Federation. Y'all can pretty much gauge what type of black people were there. But during that conference, in his speech, he said something where he was again trying to compare himself to black people, or seem like he was in line and stuff with the plight of black people. But it was on a stereotypical ground. Now, remember when I was talking about the shoe thing, I mentioned how when his mugshot went out there, you had his constituents saying that Trump has street cred because of his mugshot. Then they did the thing about the shoes. Now with this one, Trump is quoted as saying that he feels that black people are like him because he too has been quote unquote discriminated against in the system based on everything that's going on with him right now. What we go through in this system and what Trump is going through in the system are two different things. We are going through this system not by our own, involuntarily. He's going through what he's going through because he put himself in this position to go through it. What he could have done or did what could have been avoidable. What we're going through is unfortunately unavoidable. It just is what it is. So for him to sit up there and try to compare plights, it's nowhere near the same. But he's leaning on that to get black people to quote unquote be on his side, or at the very least relate to him. And it's not working. That delivery was all wrong. Former President Donald Trump claimed that black people like him because he has faced discrimination in the legal system, which is something they can relate to. I want y'all to pay attention to this. Again, this my two wings attached to the same buzzer theory is kicking into high gear yet again. He's quoted as saying, I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth time, and a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me. I want to know who the lot of people were. I need to know names. I need to know faces. I need to know positions. Who is the lot of people that told him that? If there was even a lot of people that said that, because for all we know, he could be lying and saying that a lot of people told him, but no one told him at all. He just decided to get up there and say that because he knew exactly who to say this to. He said that in front of a bunch of black people, and about a bunch of black people that would eat up everything that he says. And we know that crowd, and we steer clear of that crowd. He says that a lot of people said that's why black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against, and they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. Again, what he's going through and what we've been going through is two majorly different things. There is no comparison at all. None. He goes on to say, I'm being indicted for you, the American people. I'm being indicted for you, the black population. Now, peep the words there. He says, I'm being indicted for you, the American people. Mind you, he's telling this in front of a black conservative federation. The key word there is black. So it's supposed to be black people there. But if you look at Kid Gravity's stream when he did this, it's like I can't think of the word to describe it. It's cringe. That wasn't the word I was looking for, but I think that's the word that I'm gonna come up with since I can't think of another word at the moment. It was cringe. Just listening to him talk and listening to them react to some of the stuff that he was saying, and them not picking up on the subtle jabs that he was throwing at him. I mean, he was throwing some haymakers and they didn't even catch it. They were just glad to be in his presence. He says, I'm being indicted for a lot of different groups by sick people. These are sick people. Trump said Friday night at a speech in the Black Conservative Federation's annual gala, at which he received the quote-unquote Champion of Black America Award. Let me repeat that. He received something called the Champion of Black America Award at something called the Black Conservative Federation. This is another reason why a lot of black people do not rock with these so-called black conservatives. Y'all gave this man a Champion for Black America Award. Are you kidding me? What is this? This is right up there with them trying to give Donald Sterling an Image Award at, that Lifetime Achievement Award, the Image Award a few years ago. But when it got discovered who he really was, they revoked it. But again, look who gave him this so-called honor. These black conservatives. They gave a white man a Champion of Black America Award. They didn't give it to another black conservative. That shows you right there that even they will put a white man above their own. I have to dwell on this just a little bit. They gave a white man a Champion of Black America Award. Unless that white man's name is John Brown and he led the revolt at Harper's Ferry back in the 1800s, there is no way in hell you could tell me that anyone but him could get a Champion of Black America Award and not be black. That's the only non-black person who would ever get that award if there was such a thing. But they gave it to Trump. I'm trying to figure out, what did he champion for black people on a collective? I don't know. Can someone please let me know? Because if it's not in the forms of tangibles and reparations, getting an anti-black hate crime bill, or ending qualified immunity, what exactly is he the champion of? But again, know where he's at. The Black Conservative Federation. They were just glad that this white man was there and spoke to them and maybe took a couple of pictures and shook their hands. When I was watching Kid Gravity's live stream, I said, did he bring his shoes? Because if he did, he probably would have tossed them out there in the audience like he did a couple years ago to those people down in Puerto Rico when he was tossing out, what was it, a toilet tissue or paper towels or whatever it was. Let me continue. Trump, throughout his nearly 2-hour speech, 2 hours, my goodness, suggested his support from black Americans stemmed from their understanding of how corrupt systems can lead to quote unquote great evil. Some of the greatest evils in our nation's history have come from corrupt systems that try to target and subjugate others to deny them their freedom and to deny them their rights, Trump said. I think that's why the black people, that's what he says, I think that's why the black people, notice he didn't say black Americans at that point, are so much on my side now because they see what's happening to me happens to them. What? Again, what we as black Americans go through is nothing compared to what he goes through. And the fact that those idiots sat up there and let him say that and get away with saying that lets us know that even though some of them might be FBA, there needs to be a delineation between us and even them. They are not, I do not claim them. Again, I keep telling y'all, this is why I drew my line in the sand back in September when I said I am now a registered independent. You will not pull the wool over my eyes, and you cannot pull the Jedi mind trick over on me. Trump said black Americans showcased their support for him through their embrace of merchandise emblazoned with his mugshot. What did I just talk about with the mugshot earlier? My mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot, and you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. You see black people walking around with my mugshot, you know they do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece. It's pretty amazing. Millions, by the way. You know he loves to say millions. But it's funny though, because I saw a lot of white people, were the ones that were creating those shirts. So the thing is, it might have been black people wearing those shirts. God only knows why. But it was white people that was pocketing the money. Trump appeared at the event with other black Republicans, including Senator Tim Scott, of South Carolina, Representative Wesley Hunt of Texas, and Byron Donalds of Florida, and Ben Carson, oh my God, see, it just gets worse and worse, who was Trump's Department of Housing and Urban Development Secretary, which he had no business being there, to be quite honest. Adam Wasalis, Sr., age 33, from the Bronx, New York, said he agreed with Trump's characterization of his appeal to black voters. I definitely understand why some black men may feel they resonate with his issues, because most of the issues that have plagued black men were legal issues, said Wasalis, who was vice chair of the New York Young Republican Black Caucus. Another brain dead buffoon. We have nothing in common. Nothing. Did he ask why some of those black men were incarcerated? It has nothing to do with what Trump is in trouble for. Not even close. And why didn't they bring up what Trump did when he took out those ads to have those 5 black boys put to death back in the early 90s for a violation that they did not have any involvement with? They'll never bring that up. I'll never forget it, even though I was just a baby when it happened. And I'm sure those 5 men will not forget it either. And to this day, he still hasn't apologized for what he did, and I don't expect him to. And I'm sure they don't expect him to either. Ahead of the gala, Jasmine Harris, the Biden campaign's black media director, called Trump an anti-black tyrant and the proud poster boy for modern racism. Y'all probably by now have already seen my video about her and told people to keep an eye on her. This is the same man who falsely accused the Central Park Five, which I just mentioned, questioned George Floyd's humanity, compared his own impeachment trial to being lynched, and ensured the unemployment gap for black workers spiked during his presidency. Donald Trump has been showing black Americans his true colors for years, an incompetent anti-black tyrant who holds us to such low regard that he publicly dined with white nationalists a week after declaring his 2024 candidacy. Trump, for his part, called Biden a racist Friday night. Joe Biden really has proven to be a very nasty and vicious racist. He's been a racist, Trump said. Well, here's the thing. That's the pot calling the kettle black, because the same could definitely be said about him. Whether you like it or don't like it, I happen to not like it. Joe Biden really has proven to be a very nasty and vicious racist. He's been a racist. Whether you like it or don't like it, I happen to not like it. Biden spent years palling around with notorious segregationists. You know that. The Biden campaign did not immediately return a request for comment on Trump's remarks. Biden served with segregationists like former South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond, and he has touted his ability to compromise with them. This week, Biden said he had served with real racists in his long career, but that the current Republican Party was worse. See what I mean? The lesser of two evils thing. The thing is, they're both evil. You can't reason with either of them. One is the nice evil and the one is the wicked evil. It just all depends on which one you want to deal with. I choose to not deal with either. But it seems to me the ones that's right there in that room, they're dealing with, I don't know which version of evil that is. He says, I've served with Strom Thurmond, I've served with all these guys and have set terrible records on race. But guess what? These guys are worse. See what I mean with the lesser of two evils thing that he's trying to play? And I'm talking about Biden right now. They're both bad. And they're trying to pull black people in multiple directions. And the thing is, no matter which one that gets pulled in that direction, they're not going to get anything out of it. They don't know that, but hopefully they find out. And if they don't, they'll find out when November 5th slaps them across the face. These guys do not believe in basic democratic principle, he said at a fundraiser in California. Trump's comments come as his allies prepare to launch an effort to deliver a historic chunk of the black vote to Republicans in the 2024 elections. We have coalition groups across the country that are set to roll out initiatives very, very soon in those communities that will focus on voter outreach and engagement in things like messaging in black communities. Darrell Scott, a black Ohio pastor who was a Trump advisor and helping lead the effort. Organizers for the Black Conservative Federation said during their event that they're mobilizing groups nationwide in hopes of ensuring Trump wins the majority of the black male vote in a general election matchup against Biden. And the thing is, remember who I just mentioned who was at that event, plus so much more. Black men with some sense probably don't even know who these individuals are, and if they do, they don't like them. That's why when Trump had tapped Tim Scott to go out and quote unquote do this outreach, we was like, you picked Tim Scott out of all people? Do you know how many black people don't rock with Tim Scott? If they even know who he is? They already off to the wrong foot. I believe that President Trump is going to get 50% of the black male vote. That's reaching very high. But I mean, we'll see. Black Conservative Federation Deontay Johnson said the Democratic Party has literally pushed black men aside. And see, they're leaning on that in hopes that that's actually going to happen. But the thing is, to the black men that are going to vote for him, what are you going to get in return for your vote? See, a lot of it is spiteful voting, but at the end of the day, spiteful voting or not, what are you going to get out of this? And that's the thing that they're not asking. See, none of the people that was at this Black Conservative Federation, whatever it was, this circle jerk, they were not asking the pressing questions that we would ask. We would never get invited to a place like that because we're not going to sit there and smile and show all 32 teeth and get all giddy because a white man said something that made us feel all warm and fuzzy and giddy inside. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to press them, no matter who it is, no matter how annoyed they may get with us, or no matter how annoyed that crowd would get with us too. We don't care. We are in a very interesting time right now. This is going to be a very interesting election, probably one of the most interesting yet. And we don't have time to just sit idly by and be happy with nigga trinkets being dangled in our faces like as if we're getting some kind of first place trophy. No. What are we going to get out of if we support this man? I'm asking the black conservatives that. What do we get out of supporting Donald Trump? What do we get? I asked the same question of the Democrats. What do we get out of supporting Joe Biden if he wants to get reelected? I think we all know the answer to that question, and that's absolutely not a goddamn thing. Why? Because they have done absolutely not a goddamn thing specifically for us since both of them were in office. That's where I stand on it right now. They can say or feel however they want about me. I don't give a damn. Words don't faze me. Actions will, however, move me. And they better be the actions that I demand.